Hey, this is Jody Wolfthal, Google for Education Trainer. I just wanted to hop in and show you guys another um, way to use Google Slides and just a couple things to kind of watch out for as you start to make your assignments that you plan on handing out to your students. This is a pretty simple lab that I had created earlier in the year. It is a virtual lab, it works on photosynthesis, but what I really want to point out to you is that some of your students may have just received their Chromebook. They may not have a lot of experience using a Chromebook or a laptop, um, and they might not have a lot of support at home. So you want to try and uh, do your assignments and do what you're asking them to do from a new perspective. If you click on your links, you want to make sure that they can actually access them. So, the reason I chose to show you this particularly is because you can see that nothing actually came up. And a lot of the time, I've used this in the classroom, and even on Chromebooks, this happens as well. For my personal computer, you can see that you can. Um, just hit where it says get flash and then I get this allow or block. And if you allow it, it's going to run the flash player and you're going to see the lab as is. Now, on a Chromebook, they will actually have a little puzzle piece up here that will be blocked out. And what they have to do is click on it to open up their settings and then use their settings to have it ask them. So if you are not used to using a Chromebook and instructing students on ways to get around the allowing of Adobe Flash and little things like that, you might want to hold off on using those types of tech components. I think it's also really important to make sure that you are available during a certain select time for each class period, so that way if your students do run into those type of um, issues, they know that you're there to support them. Because remember, we want the struggle to be in the content, not in the technology aspect. Another way that I try to support my students is if I'm not sure if they're going to know exactly how to um, do something on the computer, right? So take this example. I wanted them to make a graph. Um, but if you've never taught a student how to actually make a graph using an Excel spreadsheet, that could be a very difficult task. I try to make easy instructions for them that they could read and then uh, implement those directions. So, of course, you could just record yourself making directions and showing them how to do this. At the time, I chose to actually write it out in steps. So, that kind of depends on you and your individual classes. Some classes I know would need more instruction than this, and I probably would need to make a detailed video for them. Whereas some of my other students that have a little bit more technology background, they can read this and they're going to be able to navigate those apps. And of course, I'm going to be available for my students to send me um, questions and make myself available to support them in whatever I can and whatever they actually need in this right very confusing time. So I just wanted to point out those two things, making sure that links truly do work for them, and then also making sure that if you want them to do something, being sure that they have the support that they need to be able to accomplish a task. So just two tidbits to take into consideration while you guys are planning out some of your assignments. All right. I hope that was helpful. I hope you guys have a great evening.